know what? I want to talk about this Demi Moore thing, and I was going to actually let me pull up her speech, and we can watch it together. Demi Moore's powerful speech at the first go. I think this is it. Let me try this.
This is the first time I've ever won anything as an actor.
Here we go.
And I'm just so humbled and so grateful. 30 years ago, I had a producer tell me that I was a popcorn actress, and at that time, I made that mean that this wasn't something that I was allowed to have, that I could do movies that were successful, that made a lot of money, but that I couldn't be acknowledged. And I bought in, and I believed that.
Demi has earned raves for her performance in the body horror satire that explores themes of aging in the face of impossible beauty standards, and she explained how the role connected to her real-life journey towards self-love and acceptance.
And as I was at kind of a low point, I had this magical, bold, courageous, out-of-the-box, absolutely bonkers script come across my desk called The Substance. And the universe told me that you're not done.
Yeah, that's all. It's awesome that Demi finally won something. I mean, I've been following her career. We're all movie fans, right? I'm a child of or a teenager in the 80s, born in the 70s. I think Demi Moore is about 10 years older than me. And she was really making her way in Hollywood like in the 80s. And I remember the first movie I saw of hers was, I think it was Wisdom, which is not a movie that people talk about that much. Have any of you ever seen Wisdom with Emilio Estevez? It's a really good movie. And it's just one that nobody ever talks about. It's one of those, this very young couple, and they're criminals, and they're on the run, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And it's great. It's really great. And then she was part of the Brat Pack. She did like St. Elmo's Fire, About Last Night with Rob Lowe, and so on and so on. She's done so many movies, and then she kind of had a little bit of a resurgence in the 90s because she did like, what was it, Striptease? Is that what it's called? Striptease. And then she did G.I. Jane, which I think G.I. Jane's highly underrated. But I remember she got a little bit of like some bad press, I think, in the 90s after that. Like nothing like huge. Her and her marriage broke up with Bruce Willis, and she kind of ducked out there for quite a few years, and you like never saw her in the limelight whatsoever. I think she just probably said enough, and I think I'm just gonna, sit back and be a mother, and her girls are grown now, but. She would pop up in a movie, like I'd say, like once every few years, and it'd be like a really like lower tier, almost like B-level type of movie. But then here comes the freaking Substance. It was just one of those movies. Immediately when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my God, she's perfect for this. Man, this is a role where you really have to put yourself out there. And again, she's in her 60s. She looks amazing. Nudity's one thing. But she had to really put herself in a really vulnerable side. There's scenes in the bathroom where she's laying on the bathroom floor in like the fetus position. It's not the most flattering position for any of us to be in. And she put her trust in the director, and we got, a really, really great movie, The Substance. And when I would do like my little polls and stuff, and I would ask people like, what was your favorite movie of the year? Horror-wise, more times than not, it was The Substance. And you guys can tell me now what's your favorite movie of the year. But yeah, it seems like The Substance was like the overall crowd pleaser. Even though I think there were some people that it's one of those movies where I think it's a crowd pleaser up until a point, and then when you get to the very last act, then it starts kind of separating itself from the audience because it goes really bonkers in the last act. And I think, some people that it was a little bit too much for them. But I think the last act kind of fit the overall tone and the more importantly, the message of the movie. Longlegs was Rosemary's favorite horror. Yeah, it's my number 2 for sure. I like that my number 1 and my number 2 are 2 completely different types of horror films. And I think one thing about 2024 is it offered so much in the way of variety when it comes to horror. At first, At first glance, I was thinking it was more, like demonic type stuff, But then when I really honed in on my letterbox list, and I was like, oh no, we got all kinds of stuff here. You have like freaking slashers and creature features and psychotic horror and demonic type stuff. There's something for every horror fan, gateway horror with movies like, what was it? Time Cut. Yeah. God, that movie was bad though. Not because it was gateway horror. It was just bad.